The Chinese word for crisis is the same as the one for opportunity, said JFK and Nixon, Al Gore, and a number of motivational speakers over the years. I'm sorry to say that this is a misperception. These two words, crisis and opportunity, are actually not the same in Chinese. Well, however, your biggest crisis still might harbor your biggest opportunity. That part is true. And I'm living proof. The moment I opened my partner's apartment 2 years ago, finding out why he wouldn't answer his phone anymore, was the moment when all I knew collapsed. The moment I realized that he was dead was the moment when I found myself amid the storm. In the aftermath of an epileptic seizure, he had died of suffocation. A handful of minutes between his last breath and his last heartbeat. I was at the exact point where the storm has touched ground. My life as I knew it was gone. Its bits and pieces tossed around by this all-consuming grief. And I had little to hold on to. In fact, I didn't know how to go on, and sometimes I doubted whether I wanted to. But I knew I had to. I had to find a way how to, again, put one foot in front of the other. And since I knew that this is what he would have wanted me to do, I resumed my studies of psychology. I had started my journey through the storm. And as a part of this start, this beginning, I decided to go abroad to study in Finland for half a year, which was where I, for the first time, came across acceptance and commitment therapy. So, acceptance and commitment therapy challenges the idea that you would first have to get rid of a given symptom in order to achieve a fulfilled and happy life again. Instead, what is done in acceptance and commitment therapy is by means of mindfulness, the client is brought back to the present moment, is brought back in touch with his current life, and also back in touch with the challenge he or she is facing, making it become a part of the present moment. And by reaching this acceptance, you gain flexibility again. You become able again to commit to actions and, what is most important, commit to your personal values, to those things that make your life beautiful and worth living. So you have both acceptance of what's going on in your life that could be better, probably, as well as commitment to the things that bring you back to the state where you will be better again. I immediately resonated with this concept, like a lot, because I understood I could not stop my storm from raging. Grief was there to stay. But if I wanted to go on, I first had to accept where I was. And then I realized that grief had a backside. I would have not felt this enormous, vast sadness if it wasn't for the love I felt. And I realized that this was what I had to stick to. This would be my value, my guiding light through the storm. And I knew if I would stick to it, if I would hold it close to me, I could make it through it. It would take time. Maybe it would never end. I don't know. But I would make it. I just had to trust it. So I had found my direction. I had found love as my guidance, but I was yet to find the path, which I came across when I heard about the research that had been done by Stockholm-based scientist Tobias Lundgren. What he had done in his PhD thesis is he had applied acceptance and commitment therapy in a group of clients that, despite being put on medication, they were still suffering from epileptic seizures. This is the case with 1/3 of epilepsy clients. They get medications, but they don't work. And even though the consequences do not have to be as tragic as they were in the case of my beloved one, epilepsy is affecting people's lives, like enormously, stripping down a lot of quality of life. So when I got to know what he found out, I was astonished, because after being treated with acceptance and commitment therapy, half of his clients remained seizure-free after 1 year after the end of treatment. This was my sign. It was right there, my chance to combine my personal experience, my grief, my love, and my studies in psychology. I knew I had to make a decision. I would either stay away from the painful topic that epilepsy was and still is, or I go right in, fight or flight. And I decided that I would fight. So what I did was, in a number of emails, weeks, and even a few handwritten personal letters, I contacted Lundgren. And when we finally met up, I told him my story. I told him why I was so passionate about both acceptance and commitment therapy, and especially his research. And I asked if I could join, if I could somehow be a part of his team, that I would have, by that, a way to make sense of this, to move forward, to put my energy, my love, my grief into action. And he agreed. And this was more than I could have ever asked for. And so, in a year from now, I'll be joining his team. I'll write my master thesis with him and probably stay after that. So I know I had found my eye of the storm. I had found a way to not try to stop it, because how on earth? I can't turn back time. I can't unfeel what I felt and what I feel, but I can use it. I can harvest the energy that this storm is in my life. I don't have to be a victim. And I believe that we probably, all of you, will at some point experience a moment when your storm touches your ground, when you're in a position like I was, with your personal struggle. But crisis can harbor opportunity. So what I want to give to you is a message to try to find your eye of the storm. Don't try to stop it from raging, it will not work. But find your way to its center, because there's peace. We don't need to stop our storms from raging. We can make them our friends. We can make them become part of our lives. For there's so much beauty in a storm. Thank you.